falling down the bank.
So he died in Rye too?
Yeah.
That's not a good place for the Locks, because
No,
John Locke
no,
died in Rye too,
no.
getting
So then
scalped.
you're up to the one that's in Lockport.
When was that? When did he die? Falling down.
Tradition
a bank.
says he died by falling down a bank in Rye.
Maybe we shouldn't take Locke to Rye.
But it doesn't give me a date. It doesn't give me a date.
Okay.
It doesn't give me a date. But anyway.
And then it was
then
his son, Dr.
Jonathan Locke that
came here.
Came here, yeah, and married Abigail Perry.
So he buried treasure. After a long search, they began the house, taking up all the carpet, looking between the partitions. In my grandmother's bedroom under a dresser, they noticed the boards were very uneven. They took them up in a pile of stones. Under the pile of stones was a little round iron pot of money, full to the top. Which
Yeah.
And then
was, she says her Spanish dollars dated 1771, 1772, but yours is 1791.
Right. So
But that
that's
doesn't
the
mean that they.
discrepancy in the story.
Well, no, it's
but-
not a they had a whole bunch of them.
They
They
had
were
a bunch.
trading for years, so
Right.
it just happened that the ones in, the one,
Yeah.
the coins in your pocket
thought-
are all different years.
Right.
Yeah.
But
She
I
just
thought
said
she said they
hers.
were all. Oh.
No, I have mine dated 1771,
Oh.
1772.
Yeah, so there'd be different years.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I found out for that other fellow was that the lot that, I know, I found a deed, a sale, a purchase. What am I looking for? A deed of sale. For,
For the old Swims place.
no, well, yeah, because
That swim
no,
became Swims.
it was Mrs., the doctor's widow.
Yeah, it's where she
Yeah.
is now. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mrs.
Yeah,
Robbins.
where he talked about that we could go to that site of where this
Well,
would have
it's-
been.
Yeah, it's just on the corner of Crest and South,
Okay.
where Dr.
Robbins.
Robin's widow lives now, and that was the daughter, Elizabeth Locke Dane. That was deeded to her when her father passed away, and then they sold it.
So the. Okay.
Even our house, like this street, would have been all, Jacob?
I think it was Jacob. One of the locks.
Because
anyway.
our house is just down the street, and our house was originally on Jacob Locke's property,
It
part
was-
of it.
It was built in 1877, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh, I've
So,
never seen the
which
Jacob
corner
Locke.
of Crest and South or before?
Okay, when you're going down south, back to your
Okay.
cabin,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see a white fence, and on your, oh Lord, my head.
Here you go.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. Thank you,
Yeah.
dear.
X marks the spot.
Of course, that street isn't there anymore, is it? It's right there.
It's right there, yeah.
Can I have your pencil
Sorry.
Actually, it's a pen.
or pen? It's right there.
Okay.
That used to be
That one.
Elizabeth.
No, hold on.
Yes, it is.
You sure?
Oh, no, wait a minute.
No,
Which
no.
one did I mark?
You marked
No,
the
I
wrong
marked
one.
the wrong.
You
It's
marked
that.
James. It's
I marked it.
between James.
It's that one. Sorry, I scooshed it out, and it's that one. It's on that corner.
So it's on the corner of this street and this
Yeah.
street,
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So when you go
So
back
that would
down
have been the
south,
site of.
That's what Elizabeth inherited from James when he passed
Uh-huh.
away.
Uh-huh.
That was a lot that she inherited. And then her husband,
It was
they sold it.
James and Frank. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was where the coins were that they found. Okay.
Like, we're still learning. We've only been in town, retired and here for 4 years, so, I mean,
Okay.
this is not our history.
Uh-huh.
Right.
We've just learned it.
Wow. We've learned a lot
Yeah,
then.
Yeah.
And where did
So
you move
much.
from?
Ontario.
Oh, okay.
Not
Wow.
Ontario, California. Ontario.
No.
Yeah,
Figured.
yeah.
What brought you out here? Just the
We
the
just,
coast
we
and
just
the-
fell in love with it. I'm originally from Scotland, and there's
Oh,
no way
okay.
I'll ever get him there, so
Okay.
he doesn't like leaving the
So it's
country.
Reminiscent of Scotland.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and,
Countryside.
so it's as close as I get him.
There's a few more pine trees here, I noticed, though.
Yeah.
Not
so-
as much heath.
No. But anyway, no, we love being on the water, so
Does it
basically.
snow here in the winter?
Oh, yes.
And does it stay like on the ground? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You can get some bad winters, but you can get some winters that if, you get a fog roll in and the snow's gone.
Oh, because it warms the fog.
Well, the
warms it
salt
up.
too, in the air.
Because we're retired, I don't worry about the snow.
No,
Usually the snow will come and within 3 or 4 days it's gone again.
except when we have really those
Unless you
couple
get
of,
some real weird ones, yeah,
Yeah.
but all, like as Ann was saying, all you need to do is have a fog roll in, and there's enough salt in the air with the fog that it just
yeah.
gone.
Huh.
Huh.
So it's not really covered in snow all winter.
Not all,
winter,
not
no.
necessarily, no. I
Huh.
think last year we, well, we didn't plow out.
I think I shoveled once last winter, and the winter before, I think there was about 5 times I had to
At the
shovel.
very most,
Or no, wait a minute, that was the year before that when we had the big dump.
yeah, yeah,
So the last 2 winters have been pretty,
pretty easy.
And most of the people are they mostly your?
Now, it says that he was probably born in Boston in 1726 and married Abigail Perry. And he came here in 1761.
To Shelburne or to Lockport?
It says went to Shelburne County where he founded the town of Lockport. Well,
Okay.
of course, it wasn't Lockport right off the bat. It was the Ragged Islands.
Did it say when that was? Or-
Just 1761. Now, you're saying that there's a story that you've heard that some of the other relatives came too?
Let's see. This one. This was a story
here.
written by. This was. Where did you get this story, Locke?
Hi. I think it was a link from
Jim's.
Jim
Yeah,
Coswell's
because this was on his line.
website. But this is
See, the only record that we have is of Locke's, the only known ones that came here are Locke and a Churchill.
okay.
Churchill family.
Nathan's
And I hadn't heard, and looking at that generation, I mean, he only had one other sibling.
Let's see. This is dictated to Eunice Brooks
Wingrove,
by
okay.
Leona
Superville.
Silverville Dane
Dane
Briggs, who is. Where was she on here? Leona, right here.
Okay, right
And
there.
so she was the one from. I turned that off.
doesn't
And it's.
go off, does it?
Oh, there's my alarm that was supposed to go off this morning.
Aha, it was an AM PM
Oh.
issue.
I was like, why didn't it go off? So Leona married.
Yeah,
So that's
okay.
where. So it was
In there.
Frances Locke's.
Oh, right,
So
right.
daughter.
Mary Dane.
So that's who
a Dane.
this
Right,
was.
okay, gotcha.
And then she said
My mother told
what
me.
my mother told me. So that's she's talking about what Elizabeth Francis told
And who
her.
did she say?
She said there are 4
There were-
Locke brothers.
Right here. So where she talks about it.
Many years, these 8 men, Cape Canco. Oh, okay. Oh, so they went up to Cape Can, oh, that's a different spelling of probably Cape Breton, you know, Cape Cancel?
Oh, cancel,
And they
okay.
spelled it Cape Canco. Okay, this is Shelburne. One of the 2 Locke brothers was my grandfather's name was James Locke. One of the other brothers was Jonathan. All right, because this is interesting, because if you look at Jonathan Locke, Dr. Jonathan Locke, his father,
What circle are we looking at here?
huh?
What years are we looking at?
The Jonathan that married Abigail Perry. Who's his father was John?
Yeah, was
Their
Jonathan
son
as well.
Jonathan, who married Abigail Perry, was the doctor Jonathan Locke
okay,
was settled in
but-
Lockport.
But Jonathan Locke, if we go back to him,
So did he have a son, James? Is that what we're?
that's what I'm trying to figure out. The guy who died in Rye, falling down the hill, because we've established that, right?
That's Captain John Locke, right?
No,
Oh,
Captain
no,
John
somebody-
Locke
the
died
next-
in Rye getting scalped, and
Scalped by
then
the
his
Indians.
grandson.
Yeah, the guy
Jonathan,
died,
Oh, that's
fell
right.
down.
well, he had Jonathan and Samuel. But anyway, it says, I do not propose to reject any tradition such as that Jonathan Locke had a posthumous child, Jonathan only, but I do feel warranted for several reasons in placing this Samuel as a possible son of Jonathan rather than leaving among the unknowns. First, Jonathan was in or about Providence when Samuel, son of Jonathan, was born 1725 to 30. I haven't even got an exact date. Second, Jonathan Sr. had brothers of similar names to Samuel and his known descendants. Third, a Rhode Island Locke of our known branch writes that his mother used to visit a distant relative, Mary Burt Locke, or Mary Bird Locke, as he recalls the name. So there were two brothers that would have been Jonathan and Samuel.
Samuel didn't marry and was probably lost at sea.
No, you're reading Jonathan's children, dear. We're talking about
Jonathan's children.
Jonathan's brother.
Oh, okay.
So this Samuel, born, they're not sure, married Lucy Bill and had a son, Nathaniel, married to Mary Burt. So there were two boys then, there were two brothers. And so that's probably
See, maybe was she
one of the
there's
two Locke
James-
brothers was my grandfather, and his name was James
That's here.
Locke, which is, Jonathan, John, who knows?
Yeah, that's
Who
One of the
knows?
other brothers
Because there's
was named John. I wonder if she's talking about two different generations.
Yes, I think she
like
is.
her grandfather was James, but maybe he was talking about his father Jonathan, and she put him as brothers.
Yeah, it's really,
where's the big
Confusing.
one? It's easier to look at because I photoshopped it so that we could look at the bigger part of just that one.
Yeah.
see,
Isn't-
Jonathan Locke doesn't have a son James, as James. He's got a Samuel, a Jacob, a Mary, an Abigail, and a Jonathan.
So this Jonathan, you mean,
Yeah.
or this Jonathan?
Oh, sorry, this
Jonathan, and then
Okay, so he has a Jonathan.
it was
Okay, so that Jonathan is F519. F519.
maybe I'll learn how to read the book by watching you read the book.
Here's what all the
Good
little
luck.
numbers mean.
Good luck.
Yeah, we sat there.
F519, Jonathan
perplexed.
Locke. Okay, so I've got him. Oh yeah, he had a James, married Fanny Strickland.
Okay, that's right. That's,
Dr. Jonathan. So here's
So James was born in 1786 and died in 1872 and married Francis Strickland. So where
Right
it's
here.
messy, it is Strickland. Strickland. Okay.
and so James. Where was he born?
It
Huh.
married E. Ryder of Rhode Island.
Oh,
Okay. No, wait a minute. It doesn't.
Jonathan. So
Okay,
Jonathan.
children of the sixth generation born in Lockport. So he was born in Lockport.
And then this Jonathan was born in 1758.
And married
And married
Mary Ryder
Mary Ryder.
of Rhode Island in 1762. And he died in 1844.
So
Here in Lockport? Huh? Or-
okay, there was a
I'll have to go back and look at 519.
Samuel
doesn't,
and Lucy Bell Locke.
Doesn't tell me there.
Had a son, Nathaniel, who lived in Newport, Maine, July
So-
30th, 1764.
Okay, so now we're up to,
That's probably that Nathaniel here.
Samuel and Lucy Bellock.
his
Had a son, Nathaniel, lived in Newport, Maine.
Oh, I've got Mary Burt here, hon. It's just Nathaniel Locke here of Newport. It's a child of Nathaniel Locke.
Early baptism.
Jonathan Locke, sorry, this Jonathan, who married Mary Ryder. It's a son,
Oh,
another
okay.
relative.
Oh, okay.
So
And
then
Mary
it-
Ryder's the one who the story was about the red petticoat story, or
Oh, okay,
I
yeah,
think.
all right.
I
Right.
thought that was Fanny. That wasn't.
Fanny.
Yeah, the
Oh.
it was.
Oh, Fanny Strickland.
Yeah,
Oh, really? Here?
yeah.
Who married James?
Okay, let me find James 1544. That's the next one, 15,
Wow, this is confusing.
1540.
No, we're getting it.
I'm getting it. I'm glad you're getting it.
James Locke, born in Lockport, Nova Scotia in 1786, died in 1872. Age 86, he was married to Fanny Strickland, and he was a merchant in Lockport.
James. 18,
And this is where it first mentions Elizabeth married to Thomas Dane, and sometimes it got mistaken and it was in as Dame.
Oh, okay. Mary
Yeah, it's in here, it's in his dame.
Yeah, but it's Dane with an N.
Mer-
So that's their daughter then married Thomas
Yeah.
Dane.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then that's,
And that's where it comes into that person. And then this is where you branch out.
This
Right,
is-
and then they moved to Yarmouth.
Yeah, because
Right.
he was originally from Yarmouth.
Thomas
Okay.
Dane.
Thomas
Yeah.
Dane. Aha.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
He was originally from Yarmouth. He came up to Lockport and then they went back to Yarmouth.
gotcha.
Because I found that out with whatever that gentleman,
Jim. Yeah.
cousin, whatever.
Yeah, Coswell, Jim Coswell.
Yeah.
Have you seen his website that he put
No.
together?
No, he didn't give me
Oh.
anything like that, so.
I'll forward you the email address. He did a really fantastic job where it has all the siblings and parents of all these people that you can click through.
Oh,
So you can click to it and then all
Wow.
their siblings
yeah.
and their folks come up, so you can actually just trace it back by father
So,
and mother as far as.
The locks that stayed here after we go through, so we're talking, by this time, we're talking the merchants for Francis and
In the
James. and them.
1800s.
This is about the time when there was all the West Indies trade.
Mm.
So there were lots of activity in the harbor, merchants, shipbuilding, traders. At one time, Lockport, I can't even tell you how many businesses there were. They would send fleets off to the West Indies, trade for rum, molasses, send salt fish. It was very, very busy. There was a lot of very wealthy families, the Locks, the Churchills, the Swims. And it was it was at its maximum population.
Huh.
A
And
busy, busy.
1800s. What was
busy
the
town.
population
At
estimated?
one time, there were supposedly
1,200?
1,200 people in Lockport.
Okay, so it's like more than twice as big
Yes.
as it is
Oh,
today.
Yeah, because
huh?
we're down
Yeah.
to just, what, 690?
yeah, it's at 700. I think.
690.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
less than
700.
700 now.
And then when the West Indies trade fell off, that was the decline of Lockport. We still had fish plants.
Mhm.
and-
That
but
would
we-
package the fish.
The
and-
fish. But
yeah.
then we had serious fires that destroyed fish plants.
Mhm.
And then the loss of the cod fishery
Mhm.
and businesses disappearing.
Mhm.
And of course, they've lost the main street, the businesses with fires, as you can imagine, with
It's-
wooden buildings.
Mhm. It was
So there
rebuilt,
aren't
most
an
of
awful lot of original. The hardware on the main, well, down on the water is
One of the few.
one of the few.
it. The hardware.
It's
Oh,
it's
that
lost its sign, but it's the home hardware store.
it's a
When you
home
come
hardware.
right down
Yeah.
The Main Street there.
So that
Okay,
would have been
that's
one
on
of
the
the only
original-
merchants left from the 1800s period, or?
Well, I'm not sure about that freight shed building that Bruce owns.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it, but those are sort of an example of what those earlier buildings would have been like, and that whole waterfront would have been lined
Mm-hmm.
with buildings like that.
Now, you will find in the pharmacy and also in the town market, they've reproduced some old pictures of Lockport from bygone years.
As postcards,
And they give you an
Oh, cool.
idea of just
That's
what it
impressive.
really looked like.
yeah.
Huh. Do you have any of those here, or?
No, they're
No.
down
But I
there.
mean, like the photos that they
No, I
reproduced
don't
them
know
from?
where they got those photos from, but
A
they've
lot
done them
of-
up as postcards
A
and they're
lot of
really,
them are privately owned.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Peter Swim, who owns and manages the
Town market.
town market,
Oh, okay.
he is from,
The Swim family,
which has been here for generations.
Mm.
And a lot of
exactly
it,
as the way you say it, Swim, SWIM.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
what's the history of the swims then? When did they?
I don't know
first-
when the Swim family came here.
Oh.
I haven't gone into their background because,
they were, you'll see some interesting pictures there, and there's a couple, I think, the ones down
at the Cove,
at the Cove, I think there's one there that has a winter scene
Hmm.
with ice hanging from
oh, the rigging on the ships?
rigging on the ships.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was one of the more severe winters, but
Yeah, they probably, I mean.
You see, our lobster season runs right through the winter. Now,
Wow.
most of the guys bring their pots in for Christmas,
Mhm.
and they don't maybe bother going out till April, because if the water's too cold, the lobsters don't move anyway.
Mhm.
But technically, they can go out right through,
Hmm.
from the last day in November till the last day in May.
Hmm.
But
Wow.
for the most part, our harbor is open.
Mhm.
Yeah,
All
There's-
winter.
I think there was, what was it, 3 years ago,
it froze.
it froze in.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the fishermen are still able to go out if they
Well,
want to.
even
Hmm.
when it did, when we still had clear water boats coming in, the big
Mhm.
ones, they could get out.
Yep.
They could break it.
Do you know anyone who will take someone out on a boat ride, like for hire, or?
The only thing I can suggest is go down to the wharf and see if one of the fishermen are down there and say, would you be interested in taking us for a spin?
Mm-hmm.
Because of insurance reasons, they can't say, well, give me $100, I'll take you out.
Mhm.
But they can sort of say, well, yeah, if gas wasn't so expensive, I could do that, you know. So you just say, well, here's, you know,
Money for gas.
yeah, how
Yeah.
much gas would it take to go out there? And you just sort of offer to pay the gas kind of thing. And
Mhm.
I mean, it depends.
It's regulation, you know, because if you
Mhm.
want to do it as a business, you gotta have a bathroom, and you gotta
Mhm.
have this, and you gotta have that.
Mhm. Mhm. So there's no one that
Nobody
does
does
like a
it.
pleasure,
No.
or
No.
is there anyone that has kayaks or anything like that, or? Not
Nope.
really.
Well, it's
no.
off season now
Yeah.
because during the July and August,
Mhm.
there's that place that's up at Thomas Rattle.
The kedge.
Where did they move to?
Kedge.
They moved to the Kedge
I think so.
Adjunct,
Yeah.
They-
No, they moved to
White Point.
White Point.
Yeah.
We
Mm.
were at the Kedge.
Okay,
Mhm.
White Point Resort. There's an independent businessman has kayaks for rent.
Oh, okay.
We were thinking about going up there for the last
Friday
day. of
night,
it.
yeah. Stay
So
up
I don't
there.
know if they still are there, but
Uh-huh.
it was, yeah,
Mhm.
they had kayaks for rent.
Mm.
What are these three that you get? This is the red petticoat story, right?
Mhm.
And it wasn't Fanny, it was Patty.
Hmm.
Teeny Locke's.
I thought it was, why did
Teeny
I have
Locke's wife,
Mary?
Patty. So Teeny was a guy.
Teeny?
Yeah. Teeny.
Oh, really?
Maybe that's a nickname.
One thing you'll find about Lockport, everybody has a nickname.
Oh, right, Teeny Locke's wife. So he's probably a very tall man, and he was called Teeny, like tiny.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
absolutely.
Huh.
Hmm.
Yeah. So who knows?
You know,
If I can do that for you.
Yeah, I would love to get these
So-
three. I just started glancing at them as I've
I
been
mean, there's
sitting here.
all
Interesting
kinds of
stories.
stuff in this folder that would probably just blow you away.
But, but, you know, it just depends how much you
Yeah.
want. And if you're just looking for more for background on what the town was like, then this is more just like who was who and who they were married to.
And any interesting, like, you know, we're thinking any interesting stories.
About
That-
the people.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
anything specific to these people
To
too.
those people. Yeah.
And you know, thinking of kind of tying it in with the coin, like any, you know, business stories and what they, you know, boating.
So who the heck was she in 1780 called Patty, which would be Patricia? 1780.
Okay, so I gotta go back to this
17.
again.
I'm just trying to figure out 1780, hun, would be the sixth generation.
So we're saying there was no first or was no second, I guess.
Yeah, we skipped one. This was interesting on this one too. It actually says
So that would be James.
But,
17.
Now, she's born in 1770. Has to be the fifth generation.
Fifth, yeah, with Jonathan,
So if you go to the beginning of
the
the
son
fifth
of Dr.
generation,
Jonathan.
I'm just really curious who this Patty is. Because that's a Patricia.
The fifth, is that the generation with the Jonathan? Yeah, the son of Dr. Jonathan, yeah. So it would have been one of his brothers, maybe, Jonathan's. Temperance.
Lott was born in Falmouth, Maine, married Susanna Ring York of Falmouth. She was already a widow, having had 6 children with him. She left 11 children, 89 grandchildren, 211 great-grandchildren, 14 great-great-grandchildren, for a total of 325. Until she was 90, she rode several miles on horseback each Sunday to attend worship.
Wow.
And that was some lady.
325 bucks.
That was some lady. Okay, Jonathan married Abigail.
Who are you looking for?
Well, I'm trying to find somebody who would be like a mother in 1780, right?
You're saying like a Patricia?
A Patricia. It have to be something like that, unless that's really an odd. I mean, I wouldn't even want to guess.
Okay, now wait a minute, here's, wait a minute. No, never mind.
God, it's tough to find anything. So much paperwork trying to find a single person in this.
I was just seeing if there's anybody else that might have come up here that, you know, there was another one too.
So if they were
Can't see it.
loyalists, you know, like, what does it really mean? I mean, that's
Well,
being
Now,
loyal
these
to
people,
your
Lots-
crown?
these people are before loyalists, they're
These are
planters.
pre-loyal.
These are New England planters, so they were farmers.
You mean the captain
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, they were
And-
not loyalists, they were planters, they're pre-loyalists,
okay,
okay?
Which,
So the reason behind the red petticoats is that, let me read the story. They weren't really taking sides, because they still had a lot of American relatives. Because they were from America, they were from the United States, or whatever it was at that point. I guess you were fighting to become the United States. What were they called at that point? The
Yeah, it was the
colonies.
colonies,
The
yeah.
colonies,
Uh-huh.
okay? So there was still a lot of trade and visiting back and forward because they were relatives, okay? So they were sort of neutral, and they would help either side. But when there was raiding going on, and they knew that these Americans that were in those ships didn't have good intentions, and that's why this whole idea of keeping them away from the island, because they were getting raided up and down the coast, so they knew when they saw ships coming in like that it wasn't good news.
right.
So that was when they did have to turn against those colonists and scare them away by pretending to be a British regiment.
So was it really the ratings that maybe turned this area more of the loyalists?
No, no,
or-
because they weren't, that was just the way they were, and then, of course, they would be a little more pro-British, except, of course, if they got raided by British troops going up and down the coast, they'd be,
Right.
either way, they weren't very
Anybody
happy.
who wasn't stealing.
But the loyalist thing came later,
Mm.
and that was loyalists that were living in the colonies. It had nothing to do with
Right.
loyalists here.
Oh, okay.
The loyalists that came later were people living in the colonies who wanted to stay loyal
To the
to
Queen,
England,
Right.
George.
George, sorry.
So that would have
Okay.
been a couple generations
that's later.
after
That's later, much later, yes, that's when you had the War of
after
Independence.
the
Yeah.
that war. Then
Yeah.
more people came here.
Then more
with
people
the
came, and
loyalists.
actually, there's conflict on the south shore of Nova Scotia between planters and loyalists.
But the original founders here,
Here were
Lockport, were
planters.
planters. They
Yeah.
They weren't a particular.
They-
coming here
Not
for
poli- they weren't
political.
political, no,
They
they
came
weren't.
here for the fishing trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, they originally came for
Yeah.
the fishing,
Yeah.
and then came to settle and develop.
Mm-hmm.
The loyalists were the political.
Right.
Mhm.
And didn't really have anything to do with this region at all, because it was just, they were from the United States. Any loyalists were from the United States, or whatever
Yeah.
it was. at the time, the
Colonies.
Colonists, the 13
Yeah.
colonists.
When everyone else said we want to become the United States, our own thing,
Yeah,
then
they're
whoever
like-
was still,
See, Howard's family is loyalist.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you could trace his name back to the German, the Hessians in Pennsylvania. And
Okay.
his group came up through Ontario, Niagara.
Huh.
But
And
then-
that when would that have been that your
it
family
was in the
came
war, in the
to
years after
after the war?
after independence.
I'll have to look up because I'm from German heritage from Pennsylvania, from Emmetsville.
What, oh,
Okay.
you're Essex County or something?
It was either Sussex
Or Essex?
in Essex County
Or
or
Essex
Essex in
County,
Sussex County.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
New
Okay.
Jersey.
oh, it was New Jersey, not
Oh.
Pennsylvania.
So it's right on the
It's right
Pennsylvania,
on
New
the
Jersey
border.
border.
Huh.
There's a little spot there.
But
that's-
anyway.
That's, I
His-
wonder, I'll have to look up where.
Yeah, but Rosel's
that's
a
a
German
very
name.
strange small world.
ROSZ, yeah, it's a
Okay.
German name.
That's a little story that Fred's son Jeff wrote about the old cemetery that's on the bluff.
Ah,
It's
Hmm.
over
Anyway, if you want something photocopied, you wanna let me know what you'd like and I'll do it.
yeah.
Is there
Actually,
somewhere where
I'll-
we can take this and just
I'll
do it?
photocopy
Oh,
it.
right there.
Oh,
There's a
really?
photocopier over here, yeah. You just-
Great. This one is this goes back to the history before Captain John Locke. This is Thomas Locke in
1600s.
England. So I may be able to trace back to the Locke crest. There's Locke crest in England that my grandfather's got
Mhm.
some embroideries of and a patch of that he gave me to continue to trace it back. And then anything that would fill in those 5 generations that were missing between Captain Locke and the bottom of my page there. And then these stories what you've given me here, Howard, as well.
Well,
Those are
Well-
interesting stories.
I can
Yeah.
do some of the photocopying. This
I mean,
is
the
a
other
lot
way
of
to do the
stuff.
I know,
stories is with your video,
Yeah,
is to just,
Read it.
tell the story across your video.
that's true.
If you don't wanna photocopy it.
Or you could, you could take photos of it.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we photocopy it? I mean, we normally charge a quarter of, what do we charge?
I think it's a quarter page.